Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 5 of No Rewind. Today we are here with our friend Zach, and we're just going to chat it up and, tell some cool stories and just vibe out for a little bit.
Yeah, Zach is a friend, and we've known each other now for probably 4 years, since Vinyl opened, maybe, right around that time. Yeah. Maybe we knew of each other a little bit leading up to that. I don't remember when we became Facebook friends. I feel like that's
the official.
We might have been that for a while, but it's cool to have you on, especially because I remember multiple times, literally multiple over the course of the last couple of years. You're like, dude, podcast.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Zach was like, we need a podcast here in town. You should do a podcast. We should do a podcast. Whatever it looks like. So to have Zach on today is pretty sweet.
I just like having ideas.
Yeah.
Somebody else execute them, but I'm full of ideas. I just love other people to execute them. I'm not the guy to execute.
No,
you execute
a lot of things.
I'm glad that you did finally execute on that request.
Well, you do execute the cold plunge that I did once. But
do you do those daily?
I did for about 3 years straight. That was kind of like part of my morning routine.
Okay.
And I've learned a little bit as I've learned more about myself. I realized that I thrive in that kind of structure and that quiet time, in which that was really a non-negotiable for about 3 years for me. It was part of kind of my spiritual and religious practice in the morning. I would get up and get in the sauna for 20 to 30 minutes, and then I would hop in the cold plunge, and then we would do some breath work or meditation on the front side or the back side of that, just kind of depending on what the day looked like. That was just typically during the summer, there's a handful of guys that locally that like to come and join and kind of create a little a brotherhood around it. And it's wild to see. I mean, I don't know how I introduced it to you, but it was, it can be challenging to cold plunge at
I couldn't breathe,
I
dude.
don't think I could.
I think if you weren't with me for my first cold plunge, I would have just sank.
You probably would have hyperventilated, quite honestly.
Yeah, because we just literally locked eyes, and you're like, breathe.
I'm like, just breathe. Yeah, because I mean, your shoulders were up to your ears, and you were like, and
dude,
I was like, bro.
Breathe. It was the craziest experience of my life. I literally was like,
how long were you in there?
What do I do now?
How long were you in?
What did we do, 3 minutes?
Probably.
I mean, it was at least 3 or 4.
Yeah. It was a long one. It was a long one.
So we walked into his pool. Honestly, I think one of my biggest regrets, if I could rewind in life, I would rewind back to that moment.
This podcast is called No Rewind for a reason.
Yeah, but I would go back to that, and I would actually commit this time. And
it's readily available.
True, yeah.
It's readily available.
Yeah, I could start tomorrow, I guess. Dang it. No, but that was a good time.
Yeah, I think that was kind of, I feel like that was our introduction to friendship, quite honestly, like where it was no longer surface level, and it was just like, not the daily, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? Like, weather's good, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the moment that broke through the surface.
Yeah.
And then I think after that was like you came up to the studio and checked things out up there, the recording studio. And since then we've hung out a little bit more. And
how did you guys' paths never cross? Like before that?
That is a good question, because I mean, obviously I'm much younger than he is.
Age gap.
No, I honestly don't know. I feel like maybe our paths crossed. Were you close with Kyler when he was starting the pizza shop?
I knew of him, but wasn't close to him yet. So
I honestly don't know when. Like, it might have been because I think we were both thinking about coffee shops around that same time.
Yeah.
And I was looking for investors or people to help build something out.
Okay.
And then I think our paths might have crossed, or somebody said your name. And so I heard about the food truck through Kyler from the pizza shop, I would assume. And then showed up at Vinyl Coffee when you guys opened up in front of the old Goodwill building in the food truck.
Great. No, did you ever go to Roast Coffee?
Yes.
When I worked there. I feel like we might have linked up.
Yes. There it is.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe
there
you were there with Brock at the same time.
100%. Yeah, because I was heavily involved in Centerpoint Church then. And so we would frequent Roast. That's where it's at, because that's where Trent introduced me to you.
Yeah. And you would sit at the sidebar every once in a while.
You were a barista. Yep.
That is crazy that it took this for us to recall that.
That's where it was.
Yeah.
Because I knew that we knew of each other, had interacted in some way before the coffee, before the truck, but there it was.
You'd come in with Austin.
Yep.
Matt.
Yep.
Yeah, those guys are cool, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I guess for the people that don't know you, what would you say you do? Or give us a rundown.
Or even just what is life right now? Where are you at? What's your season like?
I kind of pride myself on not being able to be put in a box. Because I'm constantly seeking knowledge and trying to evolve as a human, as a father, as a husband, and as a dad. Father and dad are the same thing. But for me right now, the rhythm is really, really fast. So that's why I really am grateful for the opportunity to sit down and kind of slow things down. I'm currently working on a PhD in human factors engineering at Wright State University. My oldest daughter, Jordan, who works for you, running the kitchen in the evenings back there.
She's the best. She's the focaccia queen now.
She is the focaccia queen. She showed me her picture of her first batch, and I was like, I don't know. Is it good?
Yeah.
What is it supposed to look like?
It looks like a big sheet pan of bread.
It looks like a sheet pan of bread. I didn't know you could make bread that way.
Those massive craters on it?
Yeah, it looks like it's got pimples. Yeah, so, Jordan is 18 now and getting ready to go off to Colgate University here in the summer. And I've got more kids at home, a 12-year-old in 6th grade here at Courthouse, and I've got a 10-year-old son at Courthouse as well. And on top of being a dad, I've got an incredible wife. Her name is Farron. She works in our school system. And so a PhD student, a father, and a husband are really the key factors for me. And then I love coaching. I love helping extract the best version of people out of themselves. And so I coach a young group of 4th grade basketball players.
I had no idea you were doing that right now.
Yeah. It was by happenstance. There was 3rd grade basketball, and there was not a coach available. I never played basketball a day in my life, organized. I always played at the park down here.
Yep.
And there wasn't a parent or anybody available to coach last year, and so I was like, I guess I can try.
And you were already mid PhD at that time?
So too? I was getting ready to start.
Okay.
Yeah, getting ready to start. And I was kind of in a season of life where I was like, okay, well, what's next? I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to be doing. I wasn't 100% sold on the PhD path. And so we were kind of just feeling things out. And I kind of try to just sit, be still, and be obedient to, what I hear and what I feel. And at that point, it was just keep investing in the local youth. And I was hired on as an assistant track coach for the Courthouse track program, and I coach our middle distance and distance kids.
Yeah, you were really Jordan's security guard, right? That's why they brought you in.
Yeah. definitely Jordan's security guard.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to have that role because that kid's my best friend, and to get to finish this chapter of her life with her on the sidelines, right? And we don't really have sidelines on the track, but to be able to see her grow the way that she has been inspirational to me, quite honestly, with what she's overcome and what she's doing with her life. I'm very proud of her.
Yeah.
But that is kind of the rhythm of life for me. A lot of coaching, again, trying to use iron to sharpen iron, and being a dad and a husband the best I can, and trying to be the best version of me on a daily basis, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, man, it's cool because I know you know this, and now that I've put it all out there with episode 3 of No Rewind, where I talked about myself a little bit, I grew up with a stepdad, and without him, I would never go back. If I could go back, and have my parents married my whole life, I would never do it. I would be like, please don't put me through that. Like, my stepdad is literally my hero. Yeah. Like, vinyl wouldn't exist without him. Like, he inspires me. He's the reason, like, he's one of the major reasons I picked up a guitar. I remember, like, the second song I wanted to learn was Back in Black by AC/DC.
Yes,
I wouldn't have known
track.
That song without Don and Tony Stark. So, those two crucial things. Yeah. But anyway, so the way you talk about Jordan, and it's something that anytime I see someone who is a stepfather, there's always like that person instantly like migrates to a special place for me, or a step parent, because that's a hard role to step into, and it comes with so many things. And as a kid, having a great step parent can literally be a game changer. But I love that we're sitting here talking about Jordan. You don't even say that word. The word step is not.
No, it's not even in our vocabulary. And when she first came into my life, I always phrased it as a bonus dad. I didn't want to take away from the relationship that she had with her biological father. I just wanted to be an add-on, right? Wherever I could, I wanted to be available for her. I've come to fatherhood with a different set of skills and different background, of course. And so I wanted to just be available. And, I love to tell this story when people ask about, Jordan or how we came about, because a lot of people think that she's my biological child, and that's fantastic. But at the same time, like when I proposed to her mom, we were at Disney World, and I bought a ring for Farron, and I bought a ring for Jordan.
That's so cool.
And so when I proposed, Jordan was standing beside Farron, and so I asked her mom, and then I stayed on my knee, and I grabbed Jordan's hand, and I brought the ring out, and I was like, sweetheart, you're going to be a very important part of my life moving forward, and I think it's only fair that I show that in this with this ring that, the circle, the whole infinity thing, like, I'm not going anywhere, right? Yeah, and I'm going to love you no matter what. And I understand that taking this role on is extremely challenging, because like you, Branson, I grew up with a bonus dad. And he is one of the best things that ever happened to me. He came into my life when I was 10 years old, and I don't know what kept him around, because I did everything possible to kick him out of the house. Like, I was so angry at my biological father that I didn't want anybody to come in and ruin the friendship and the relationship that my mother and I had. And I hadn't seen a quality man come into my mom's life, and I wasn't willing to take the risk on losing her because of a man. Right. And, this is all much wiser now that I'm in my 40s. I sure as hell wasn't thinking about that when I was 10. But the patience and the love and the kindness that man showed me in such a difficult set of years, right, from 10 to 18 until I left for the military, like, the dude was unshakable. I certainly pissed him off a few times, which is inherent, but he would not quit on me. And I love that about him now. And he's not a super emotional man. I'm a very emotional man, and so those things kind of clash, and that he doesn't quite understand all that fun stuff. But I always try to on Father's Day, like, share like sentiments of how important he is to me. Cool. And maybe one day, or maybe when he's by himself, he's like, man, he really is a good dude. Or I'm really glad that he came into my life. And he grew up in a parenting world where they didn't say I loved you, I'm proud of you, all those things. And so I always try to keep that in mind from my parents, how they were raised and how they learned to parent through their parents. And so I always try to, as a parent, kind of put a buffer in between the way I was raised and try to find my own way of doing it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's cool, man. I had to pull it back a minute, because hearing that story of you proposing to Farron but then also saying Jordan.
It's so cool.
That's powerful. That's really, really special. And when you and Farron first got together, how was that received? Was that hard initially to kind of work through, or?
I don't know that it was necessarily hard. She is such an easy person to love, And she's also very frank and very honest and very blunt.
Which our guests will learn on episode 7.
Also.
Because she bluntly claimed episode 7. So she gets it. Jordan will be here. Yeah.
You'll be in for a treat. Gosh, that kid is unique, and I love every bit of it. I forgot even what we were talking about because I get so amped up about Jordan.
About her, just how you were received, and you said it wasn't hard. But.
It wasn't necessarily hard for me, right? It's easy for me to love people, but it certainly was challenging for her as a 4-year-old. You know, seeing her mom love another man who's not her father certainly has to be challenging. And there were certain times when she'd be like standoffish or whatever, but the kid loved pepperonis, and I worked at the Rusty Keg while I was trying to figure out the next transition point of life, and her mom also worked at the Rusty Keg, so Jordan loved pepperonis, and so my way of showing her some kind of affection was through her belly. Yeah. And so I'd bring her cups of pepperonis when she was hanging out in the tanning salon while we were working or whatever it might be. And Farron was going to esthetician school, and she let Jordan wax my arms, and I think that was the moment that Jordan was like, all right, he's not so bad. He's a wimp, but he's not so bad.
Yeah,
so.
That's hilarious. That's cool. I had no idea you worked at the Keg. That would have been the early days.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, I forget when so it was like just 15 years, I think they just celebrated. So I came in right in the middle of 2010. Okay. And my aunt was managing the Keg, and so she was like, hey, you're a bartender. We're doing this Pelotonia event. We need a bartender. You just need to sling, bottom shelf drinks and canned beers. Oh yeah, I can manage that. And little did I know, like, out comes Farron in this cute little outfit with a red bandana tied around her hair, and I was like, oh my gosh, who is that?
Yeah.
And I knew of her from high school, but she's younger than me. And so I knew of her, but I didn't really know her. I didn't interact with her in high school. And so I chased her down, and that was it. Game over.
Sick.
That's crazy.
That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, dude, that would have been like the first or second year of the Keg.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Early 2010.
Yeah, I would love to know what the Rusty Keg was like back then, because I know how vinyl is, and it's like, and I feel like we're still discovering what things look like, but it's like I would love to see the Keg before they were like what they are now, because now it's like you can get anything there. It's a baller. It's great. Like
it was quite honestly, man, it was a lot of fun. Like getting to grow with them, and as Brian and Kelly are figuring things out and the rhythm, and Denise was always there. She's been a fixture, and so it was fun to be a part of such a new business that was bringing something brand new to our small little town here. The Terrace Lounge was a thing of the past, and the Pettits have done a fantastic job, and they took great care of us too as their people, and so it was honestly a lot of fun to be a part of.
That's cool.
That's awesome. So you mentioned you were in the military, which thank you for serving.
My honor.
What set you down that path?
Ego. Okay. Ego. So
it's a fun one.
We
love some ego.
It's funny that you asked that, because so I was an athlete in high school, and I played a lot of soccer, and I thought I played a pretty good brand of soccer, and recruiting and exposure is not quite what it is in the world that we live in today. Like, you had to make tapes, real VHS tapes or whatever. There was no YouTube. There was I think the internet was still young, and so email addresses for coaches were, few, and how you find them, you don't know. So the recruiting landscape was vastly different. Probably wouldn't change a daggone thing if it was the same as it was today. I might have just been a little bit full of myself. But I thought I played a really good brand of soccer, and I thought I was going to get, more offers than what I did to a school that I wanted to go to. And I quite honestly was a 2.5 GPA student in high school. Like, I just did the bare minimum to get by, to get the grades I needed, so my parents would leave me alone and my teachers wouldn't bother me too much.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and so school just wasn't my jam, man.
Yeah.
And I loved being an athlete, and I loved running, and I loved playing soccer, and I was a nerd. Like, I even did the bare minimum in the band to be quite honest. I was in jazz band, symphonic band, marching band, a pep band, all the bands.
That's awesome.
But I wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I just liked to play the trumpet. I loved old school jazz music, and that was my inspiration, but I just didn't try hard enough. I didn't try hard enough at all in high school, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I can't be Jordan, right? I can't have my stuff figured out. We can't all have our stuff figured out. And so, yeah, I joined the military because I didn't get any offers to school that wouldn't cost me an arm and a leg. And I think one of the wisest decisions I ever made was to join the military, because I knew that I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do with my life. And I just kind of figured it out, and I'm in my 40s, and I'm not even 100% sure now.
Which, by the way, like, people think that that's like, dang, you still don't have it figured out in your 40s. But I look at that, I'm inspired by it, because it's like, oh, wow, wait, I'm 27 and I act like I'm going to do the same thing the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But the fact that life doesn't have to be that way, like you said earlier, you don't have to be stuck in a box. Yeah. You never know what pivot you'll have. So I think it's inspiring. But.
Well, and life's not linear, man. Nothing is linear. Like, you can try.
Yeah.
You can try all you want to make a ladder in which you want to climb in this thing called life. But life's going to hand you something that you never expected. And for me, the military handed me some things I never expected. You know, my time in combat, I was absolutely ignorant to think that I was going to escape, combat. You know, I tried my best by joining the military police force, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go be an MP for 4 years and get my GI Bill, and then I'm going to go get my criminal justice degree, and I'm going to go join the FBI, and I'll be an FBI agent. Well, I got there. I wasn't an FBI agent. I was a contractor for the FBI, but I went in this roundabout way to get there. And so life's not linear, and you don't have to have anything figured out. I feel like as long as you're a good human and you love people and you're kind and you try to be the best version of you and not somebody else on a daily basis, I don't know that it matters what it is you do on this planet, as long as you're helping leave this place better than you found it, and you leave people better than you found them. And so I said ego got me into the military because I thought I was going to play soccer in college. I didn't play soccer in college. So I joined the military at 17 years old. I do have a very rich heritage of military service in my family, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm grateful for the gentleman and one young lady, my Aunt Jackie, who was a Marine, that kind of paved the path, if you will, as the military as an option. And I love how close to the vest they kept it, because they didn't tell me jack about what to expect anywhere. I would try to probe them for questions, and they're like, nah, you'll figure it out. And so I figured it out. It tends to be the way that I learn lessons in life is the hard way. Yep. And so I joined the military at 17 and thought I was going to find a way around combat, which was absolutely ignorant. So I joined the MP Corps as a military police officer, and then I got an airborne designator in my contract. So that means I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, to jump out of airplanes. You get, I don't know, it's like $500 or maybe $150. It's vastly different. It's like a monthly stipend that you can get added for jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Dang.
Mind you, it's a government airplane, so the contract goes to the lowest bidder, so it might not be perfectly fine. But anywho, I digress. So 17 years old, joined the military. And 18 years old, I was in Mosul, Iraq, in the initial invasion of Iraq. Spent 12-ish months there and came home for 6 or so months and went right back to Baghdad and had a rather challenging 13 months in Baghdad. Not to say that Mosul wasn't a challenge. I had my fair share of terrible experiences, but Baghdad was really brutal. It was in the middle of, the hottest time. Summer is definitely hot, but like combat-wise and movement-wise, there was a lot going on in the time that I was there in 2005, 2006. That was 20 years ago.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I can't even even hearing you saying it's like I don't even know what questions to ask or how to wrap my mind around it, simply because it's like you just don't know what that's like unless you've done it. So, yeah, thanks for doing that. But.
Yeah, I mean it's my honor. It's not like people will ask like, why did you join the military? I didn't have any other options.
Yeah,
I thought it was the best option. It's not as if I'm some kind of patriotic, America-loving man or young man at that age. Of course, I love this country, but I don't fly a flag outside my house. I don't wear a hat that says I'm a veteran, and I don't designate myself as a veteran. I don't stand up when they play or they say, if you're a veteran, you've served, blah, 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 please stand up for recognition. I don't care. Like the people that matter most to me know about my service. And if you want to know about my service, ask.
Right.
But I don't need to stand up in front of a crowd to be recognized for my service. I didn't do it to be recognized.
Which is funny because ego took you into.
Yeah.
Ego brought you there.
Yeah.
And then now you sit here and you're like, I don't even want recognized.
No.
So what was that like? Like, I mean, you to be going from Zach, who soccer fanatic, full of himself, to the guy who is like who you are now, who I know you as, the guy who's not that, what's that like?
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's 15 years worth of getting my ass handed to me on a regular basis because I just wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
No matter what you believe in, if it's God, if it's Buddha, whatever, there's a higher power out there that is in control of this whole thing. The science will back that up. And I'm a science guy. So, again, I digress. I did so many terrible things and made so many incredibly huge mistakes in my life in my 20s and in my 30s. And it took me continually getting God smacked, quite literally. Like I would start to climb my way out and I would try to force my way on the universe. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm supposed to do in this life. And it'd be like, whoosh. Nope, don't think so. Back down to the bottom. Mm-hmm. And it took me, I retired in 2010 and I went to Heroes and Horses in 2022. So it took me 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years of absolute, utter, I was like delusional. And I was struggling with what I experienced in combat, and trying to figure out why my dad left me as a 2-year-old, and all of those things that people kind of that repress for the longest time to try to act like you're normal in this world. And it came to a tipping point, man. In early 2022, it came to a tipping point. I had established myself in the business world, and I was successful by all measures according to society today. I had a good job, and I made a good amount of money. I had a nice house, and I had nice cars, and my kids have nice things, and I was miserable, absolutely miserable. And it came to a point. So I'll rewind really quick.
Oh, you can't do that. No rewind.
Y'all shoot, no rewind. I love the irony.
Exactly.
And so while I was in combat, and between 2002 to 2006, I had been exposed to multiple improvised explosive device explosions. I don't know, maybe upwards of 10. I don't remember. Probably a good reason why I don't remember. My brain was rattled quite a bit. And I saw a lot of things that, most humans should never see. And this is probably not the place to share any of that. It's really not necessary for the context. And then at the end of my second deployment in Baghdad, somehow I ended up hurting my back, whether it was on a raid or whatever it was. I'm not exactly sure. None of us are really sure what happened. But I do recall at the end of a raid, we were going after a high-value target, and I tried to get in my truck, and I couldn't lift my right leg. And I thought maybe, I checked myself. I wasn't bleeding. I hadn't been shot, and we were kind of taking a little bit of fire and whatever. But I just couldn't lift my right leg, and I could not get in my truck. So one of my guys had to come shove me up in the truck, and we got back. And so I went to the doctor. They did some X-rays. Like, oh, dude, you shattered 2 discs in your lower back. Your L4, L5 is looks like an exploded jelly donut. I'm like, oh, cool. How did I do that? And so that starts this whole god-awful process of being medicated for pain. And this is an important part of my story because, and it's not just my story, there are certainly civilians that have experienced this. There are a litany of veterans that have experienced this. The overprescription of painkillers and opioids to numb the pain. And I had nerve pain in my legs, and so my legs constantly felt like they were on fire. And I became dependent and addicted to prescription opioids. I had 12 medications at one point in time. I had medication called Seroquel to put me to sleep, and then I had Adderall because I have ADHD, so the Adderall would wake me up, and then I would have Oxycontin pills, Oxycontin patches, Vicodin, you name it, I had it. And so I was literally a zombie being kept alive on a cycle of medications day in and day out. And that went on for quite some time until my best friend, who, God bless you, man, I know you're probably not listening, but I hope you figure out that there's stuff better than the bottle in this world. He came and grabbed me by my cheeks. And you guys heard about how much I love my mom, and I was, an only child for quite some time. And he's grabbed me by my cheeks, and he's like, dude, your mom's coming to take you to rehab. And I looked at him, I'm like, no, she ain't. She's not coming to take me to rehab. And at that moment, as high as I was, there was a moment of clarity. And I was like, okay, come on. So I took him into my house, and, I was 25, I had my own house, and thought things were good. I wasn't aware of what was happening to me. And so he made it blatantly clear. And I went and dumped every pill that I had hidden that was in my medicine cabinet all over the house. I dumped it in a trash bag. I said, here, come back and check on me 7 to 10 days. So I detoxed myself inside my house for 7 to 10. I don't remember how long it was, but I do remember it was probably the most excruciating week of my life.
I can't believe you were even alive from that.
That's what my doctor said when I went to go back to see her.
That's crazy.
She was like, you're an idiot. And I said, well, you put me there.
Yeah.
You created this. And I said, she goes, you probably should have died. I said, but I didn't.
Yeah.
That was it. I walked out.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, I've never known that of you, and I've always known you as this guy who's so mentally clear and can communicate well and all of those things that I know about you, and to think that you were able to go from that to who you are now is pretty awesome. That's crazy. Yeah, that's inspiring.
Well, thank you. If anything, I just want people to realize that change is possible.
Yeah.
You can go to the depths of hell and drag yourself out of there and become something that you never thought you were possible.
Do you find that people doubt that you've changed? Do you experience that?
Oh, I experienced it in my household.
Oh, yeah.
And that's purely out of love. I mean, what reason did they have to believe that I could change? Yeah. Right? I stacked evidence, man, that I was who I was. When my wife told me that my kids are scared of me, that was another moment of clarity. Okay, man, something's got to change.
Yeah.
And that something is you. Right? I had to look myself in the mirror, like, dude, you're the problem. Again, you're the problem. And it always comes back to us. It always will. As long as we're willing to take responsibility for it, we have the ability to change. But it's when we're like, okay, that so-and-so said something that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Why did it piss you off? Is there something that's unhealed about you, inside you, that you have not yet addressed?
Yeah.
Because it's just a reflection. It's just a reflection.
That's amazing. Would you say that Heroes and Horses, was that the time frame that you really kind of figured that out?
Yeah. They provide, it's a 41-day in-person experience.
Okay.
And they provide opportunities for men to look at themselves in the mirror in a very high-level way. For men to look themselves in the mirror and face their past and face the lies and find the truth. And I think the Bible says, "And the truth shall set you free." And quite honestly, the truth will set you free. It is not easy.
Right.
Truth is very difficult, very, very difficult. But yeah, that was the turning point for me.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember even when you came to the coffee shop and you were like, "Yep, quit my job. I'm going to be gone for, was it 7 weeks? Is that 41?
Yeah, 41 days, however long that is.
And I think I even asked you, I was like, and Farron's like, good with that, you know? But yeah, it's crazy because you had that experience, but you played it off so well that when you told me you were going to that, I was like a little confused because I was like, why do you need to do that? You like got it together more than I ever will. And that was like my perception of you. And so it's cool to hear these stories. And I've kind of known, we've talked a little bit about this, we've touched on it, but to hear more depth to it and understand like that experience and how crucial it was for you. That's cool.
Yeah, I was really good at acting.
Yeah.
I think kids these days call it masking.
Yeah.
And so I was just really good at hiding the truth.
Yeah.
And well, I didn't even really know the truth. I was just really good at hiding all of how tumultuous my internal conversation was. Because again, if the world looks at you and sees that you're successful, you got to figure it out, right? I didn't have anything figured out. I just knew how to use some skills to find myself in a position to create success. I would never define success the way that I used to.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Like, I'm as wealthy and rich and successful as I've ever been, and I don't have a job.
Yeah.
Think about that.
It's powerful.
I'm the father that I've always wanted to be, the husband that I always want to be, and trust me, I've got plenty of work to do. But my kids love me. They don't fear me anymore. I have a beautiful relationship with all of them. And my marriage is flourishing. And I'm working on a PhD. Do I have $100,000, $150,000 job? No. It doesn't matter to me. At some point in time when the universe or God is like, hey man, here you go. Now you can handle some money. Cool.
Yeah.
Until then, this is all that matters to me. Is being a husband, a father, and a son. I wasn't a very good son for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so cool because you spend time in the shop in vinyl and people see you around, but to know these things about you, it's just cool to be able to hear these stories and share them.
It's powerful.
Yeah, it's honestly, hopefully inspiring and eye-opening to a lot of people too, because so many people do base their money, their happiness on their money.
Yeah.
And that's just not it, you know. So it's cool.
No, happiness is a choice.
Yeah.
It is. It's between your ears. There's nothing you can buy in this world that will make you happy. And even if you have all the money in the world, and heaven forbid that you have a loved one or a child that is terminally ill, you can't buy it.
Right.
You can't buy it.
Yeah.
And so until we learn to accept the circumstances that we're given and take responsibility for it in whatever way we're responsible and learn to appreciate it, right? It's really, really hard. I've never been in the position, but it's really hard to appreciate the fact that a loved one is terminally ill. But there is a lesson to be learned in whatever that is, right? What that looks like. You know, what is this here for? To teach us? Because everything is here to teach us something.
Yeah.
But are we willing to learn?
Right. Yeah.
So what? It's kind of not really switching topics, but why the PhD?
Why the PhD? I love to learn, and I love psychology. Like I love the human brain. I love the human behaviors, and I still have an affinity for the military. This country and humans in general are really good at war, right? We're really good at creating veterans. And I don't know that we're ever going to stop. And so me forecasting that there's a future war on the horizon, I like to work in the military space. And so my research, we're working on teaching new medics and older medics. So we're teaching combat medics how to do advanced procedures in the field in austere environments, which is, a combat scenario. A lot of lives were lost due to what's called compartment syndrome. And so we've created a piece of technology that teaches the medics how to do, arterial cut downs to relieve compression or some compartment syndrome. And that's the work that I'm doing. And I've created relationships with the Air Force Research Lab through my advisor. And we're working on some critical care air transport. So when soldiers get hurt and they're transported from Landstuhl, Germany back stateside, that air transport process is extremely critical in the survival rate. And so why the PhD? Because I still feel like I have more to give. And I wasn't given the gift of intellect that I have, or the story that I have, let alone the journey that I've been on. It wasn't for nothing. And so I'm going to keep giving until I can't. And so I still have more to do on this planet, and until God says otherwise, that's what I'm going to keep doing.
It's amazing.
And I want to educate people too. I love academia, and sure, it's got its flaws, like every other system does, but I love to teach. Like I told you guys earlier, I'd love to bring the best out in people. And I feel like that's kind of what I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you went through this journey that was incredibly challenging, lead up to 2022, Heroes and Horses, and then now you can't go back in time. You can't change any of the past,
no rewind,
but you can
buddy.
take that exactly. But instead you choose to take that and be the rewind to somebody else.
Yeah, it's a gift.
You want to give them that, where it's like, hey, I went through this, and I'm going to help you not go through that. And that's
my
cool.
journey is a gift.
Yeah,
it's an absolute gift. And people, I shared a small portion of my story because the Heroes and Horses application is open right now for any veteran or first responder that is struggling with the storms of life, right? And I would encourage anybody that thinks that they're ready to look themselves in the mirror and face the truth to apply. But, like I said, my story is a gift. And I shared it, and somebody had sent me a message like, man, it takes a hell of a person to share that on a social platform. Why?
Right.
What are you afraid of?
Yeah, it's almost like, are you afraid of not helping someone? Like, why would you not share it, right? It's
I'm
like
not afraid
the
of
reason
being...
you want to share is because you're afraid of not helping someone. It's like, why would I not share the gift?
I think
right?
the question probably came from, a place of judgment, right? Like, why would you share that? People are going to judge you. Good. Have at it.
Yeah.
Have at it. I don't care if you judge me. You're human.
Yeah. And people will, no matter what,
Yeah.
They'll judge you for being silent.
You're just as flawed as I am, right?
Yeah.
We weren't designed to be perfect.
Yeah.
We were, according to the Bible, we're designed in God's image. So if you look around, we're all one. We're all connected. Mm-hmm. It's wild, man. That people are so wrought with fear over being who they were designed to be. They pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else is taken. Be you.
Yeah. Yeah. And in being someone else, you're drained, all those things. Because I think everyone's went through these seasons where you look back and you're like, who was I being? That's not me. What was I doing? And those seasons are horrible. They're always the worst seasons. And everyone goes through it, and it's like, why? Why are you doing that to yourself? Like, it affects other people. Why are you doing it to them? But even more, it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? When you truly can be who you are and be amazing.
It's a really scary prospect, though.
Yeah.
Right? Because that requires vulnerability.
Yep.
And humans aren't innately good at being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so, because, other humans judge us. Mm-hmm. And then we, in turn, take those judgments and cast them upon ourselves, and we change who we are based off of the feedback that we're getting. Instead of sitting with ourselves in silence and listening to the voice and sitting with that uncomfortable truth, right? Maybe you're not a rock star. Maybe you're a poet.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a CEO. I don't know. But until you sit with yourself and you ask those questions, you're going to continue to take the feedback from what the rest of the world tells you and design somebody else that's not you.
Yeah. That's cool. So, and if somebody's dealing with that struggle, and they want to sit with themselves, what questions should they ask? What do you ask? And how do you, do you have any tips on how to walk through that?
I'd like to say we are our own guru, right? Because we only know ourselves. Some of us don't have a clue who we are. And the first place to discover that is in silence. And man, is that difficult, right? Think about the world that you live in, right? We've got our phones are attached to our hips, sitting on our laps, in our back pocket. We've got technology on our wrists that distract us. So the first place to start is to remove all of that and guard your time. Guard your time. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Just start there. Just have a seat. Find somewhere comfortable. Have a seat. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes and just listen.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Yeah, it's so simple, but yeah, I feel like it's something that so many people just accidentally miss. And it's not on purpose. I feel like it's something that I tend to miss a lot. And you can probably see it on me at the coffee shop sometimes. It's like, dude, you need to just sit and be by yourself for a minute.
Well, I mean, life's difficult, man.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different rhythm to life. And, you're a young entrepreneur and you've got your hand in 15 different things. We also have to remember to give ourselves grace, right? Mm-hmm. Because we want to accomplish so much in this life and then we want to leave our mark and all these things. But it's funny to think that we're put on this planet and we don't even get pressed to figure out who we are. Right? We don't. It's just go and do. Yeah. Consume.
The idea of a gap year is people look at you like, oh, he's never going to go to college. Like, he's taking a gap year. And it's like, I've told a lot of people in the last couple years, if they're not sure, I'm just like, dude, maybe take a gap year. Like, work at a coffee shop, or don't work at all.
Go travel.
Just chill, travel, experience a little bit of life. Before you go in a mountain of debt or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're coming out of high school or post-second, whatever it is that you're doing academically, unless you grew up knowing that you want to be a doctor or you want to be a lawyer or whatever it is, man, there's no pressure. There's no pressure. I mean, it's all put on by some of us, our parents put it on, some of us we put it on ourselves, and because we have to live up to somebody else's standard. Because we don't even know what our own standard is.
Yeah.
We're 18.
Yeah.
Right? We're 19, whatever it might be. And so to circle back, just find a couple minutes a day. Don't make. Make it a priority. Make sure to prioritize yourself. In order to be selfless, we have to be selfish.
Yeah.
Because you cannot show up as the best version of yourself if you don't take time for yourself.
Yeah, an empty cup can't fill up a glass of water. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You cannot pour out of an empty cup, like you said. And so if you just take some time for yourself, listen to the voice, whatever your internal conversation looks like. And maybe it's a difficult conversation. Maybe you're just really hard on yourself. Think about how would you encourage somebody else, right? Somebody else going through something challenging. I challenge you to be that kind to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Start there. Right? Don't judge your thoughts. Just listen to them. Recognize them. Okay, I don't like that one. Keep moving. Right? That's not necessarily the truth.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing all of your story and stuff. Man, and it's inspiring to think you can be a dad with an 18-year-old, 12 and 10. Is that right? Yep. 18, 12, and 10, and still go get a PhD. It's cool that you can do that. And so many people think, and not because of that their own fault. It's just, this is the world we live in. It's I gotta know, the anxiety going into college is I gotta know what I'm doing. I gotta know what I'm majoring in. And then even at the end of college, it's like, what job am I going to get? And so it's really meaningful that you share your story and are able to open up about that in such a public way that will allow people to say like, oh, I can slow down. And if I'm a dad with an 18, 12, and 10-year-old, I can go get a PhD, and that's cool.
Yeah, life's not that serious, man.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And again, the world we live in tells us that we gotta go and produce. We gotta use the time that we have wisely. Of course we do, but we don't have to go and build immediately. We can go and experience.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine if you just went and experienced life just for a little bit. I bet if you wanted to be a physicist, that might change.
Yeah.
Right? If you go to Spain and you go backpacking around Spain or somewhere around anywhere in Europe, and the people that you run across, you might be like, oh, maybe I want to be an anthropologist. Maybe I want to learn and understand cultures. I don't know. I have no idea. But until you experience life, most of us don't have a freaking clue what we want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I sometimes, in the past I've had thoughts of like, man, why'd I even go to college? Like, I don't use that today. But then I do look back at it and I'm like, well, that college experience is what put me in Donkey Coffee when I was at OU and all these things. So it is true that like, you might be going down this path and it leads you somewhere that you don't even know you're going. And that's kind of the magic of it. And that hopefully can bring even more, I guess, peace and a feeling of content that while you're walking through your journey of life, it's like, it's okay that I don't know where I'm going because it might lead somewhere really cool. I would have never thought that I would open vinyl. You probably never thought that a guy with a, what'd you say, 2.7 GPA? 2.5 would go get a PhD and help guys in the military that need some help. You never would have thought that when you were 18 trying to play soccer.
No, not at all.
So,
not at all.
It's cool.
It's funny. There is a good thing.
Really?
There's a good thing about living in a small town, right? Because the statement that you just made, you never would have thought. And one of my former math teacher, Mr. Rader, is kind of in my social circle, and I don't know who he ran into, but they came to me the other day. They're like, I think it was my wife. They were in a meeting together, and who would have thought? They were in a meeting together, and he's like, Farron, I can't believe that Zach is going to get a PhD. Like, I never would have thought that. Obviously neither would have I, being the student that I was. But that's the cool thing about like this small community, right? Everything has their ups and downs, but I kind of really enjoy that because he had me as a student. He knew me at 15, 16, 17 years old. Yep. And now we're having a conversation at 40 about logistic regression in the statistic class. And it's funny that if you're just present in the moments that life gives you, you can learn to appreciate them a lot more. Yeah. And it's just stuff like that. You're like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That he even remembers me from like 25 years ago. Let alone, going back and having that conversation, and you never think that your paths cross with those people.
Rader's the best.
He is.
I mean,
did you have him too?
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
I had him for 3 years, and I am honored to serve him maybe a monthly or every couple of weeks a coffee.
Yeah,
he's
one of the most eccentric individuals you ever meet, and I appreciate that for him because he knows who he is, and he is uniquely him, and it's comforting to be around people that can be comfortable in being authentic.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good one. So, well, bro, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah.
Sharing so much of your story.
Dropped a lot of good nuggets.
Yeah, I'm on it. We'll have to process that the rest of the week. But
it was big, even just, for you and me, I think a lot of the things you talked about are conversations we've had literally in the last day, and it's like cool to have a new perspective that's like, we got time, don't gotta stress everything so much. Yeah, conversations that we've had of like where we're thinking the opposite way, and you're like, dude, it's all right, so
yeah, and
it's cool.
Of course it's easy to sit here and say these things. It's much more difficult to live them, right? It's a lot of discipline and a lot of intentionality.
Yeah.
And I'm flawed as a human, and there are days when I miss things, and I feel it, right? I feel missing the sauna or the cold plunge or meditation or whatever it might be. But it's just important to remember that don't be so hard on yourselves. And I got to remind myself daily to give myself a little bit of grace because of the pressure that I put on myself to go out and perform on a daily basis. And I think the last thing I want to leave you guys with is life becomes inherently easier when you discover your purpose. And all of us may discover it at different phases within our life when we're designed to figure out, what our purpose is. And I'll leave you with this. I recently discovered, and I kind of put it down in this phrase, and I've been put on this earth to be a lighthouse for people that are struggling with the storms of life.
Yeah.
I've been given the story that I have. I feel like I stand pretty tall and pretty strong, and I just want to be that light when people are looking up in a storm of life, especially for our combat veterans and people that really struggle with trauma and how difficult it is to overcome those things. I hope that I'm doing them a service and knowing that change is possible, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with this. I get a small glimpse, and you do that.
So I appreciate it, man.
You do that, and it's awesome. And that's literally like when we thought of who the first couple guests could be. It was you were a no-brainer, top of the list. I was stoked to bring you on today to hear more of your story, even for myself, but to hear you share it. And hopefully this isn't the last time you're on too.
No,
I would
there's
love
a lot
to even
more
see
in
you
there.
come host with us, or maybe we'll say like, hey, what if we dive deeper into like this season of your life or whatever that looks like. But thank you, bro. Thanks for sharing.
It's an honor, and I appreciate any opportunity to share my story because, again, it's not mine. It's for whoever needed it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's cool. Love it, bro.
Love you, man.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yes, thank you.
This is Zach. If you see him in vinyl, he's probably thinking, so don't talk to him. Just completely contrast everything we said. No. Yeah.
I'm definitely probably thinking.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Appreciate y'all.